Look, I just want to start by saying I don't know a single person on my Instagram. And so, like, all of you who I assume are directed to YouTube through Instagram, because that seems to be where the main point of contact is, was sort of following me because I seemed to be, to you, somebody who collected scooter parts. I never sort of saw myself that way. I was just a person who, like, had parts because I was just like, well, kids ride shit scooters. And so I just wanted to, as kids got older and they seemed to be falling out of doing it, sort of just go, all right, well, here, let's build something that's better for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just a fucking envy prodigy, because you can see why they get sick of it when that's what the thing is, because it's not big enough and it's not capable enough for what they need to do. And so I was just like, well, why don't I just just buy a bunch of shit from Syndicate when they've got a sale or whatever, and when they're able to invest in that just as a long-term project, then you can just pass it on to them, just do a build, pass it on. It's like, well, then it has more longevity and it likes pushing the sport, because ultimately that was sort of my idea, was, well, at least when I became business-minded about it, was ultimately it has to come from pushing the sport, because everything exists around the fact that it is a sport and certain people do it very well. And for me, like, I felt like a nobody. Like, I don't have anything to show off on Instagram. I'm not that kind of a rider. There's nothing I can do that any of you really want to see. And and I'm okay with that, because I don't go out to film myself riding. I guess the point of doing the initial filming was because I was doing the custom builds, and I kind of liked watching the Vault custom builds, but I kind of get angry at them a lot because they sometimes try and do too much, or they do a lot of park builds, which is boring. And I thought, well, what if I just did that, but it's just like strictly like killer street builds with like awesome classy style, and then just sell them off on a website. Sort of like what they do, except it's just that. And so, that's why I sort of started filming myself, but sort of filming with like just sort of what I had, and I wasn't quite willing to let go of a lot of the parts in a way, because I kind of like them. And I don't know, I also feel like that's a big thing to admit in my life, because it's like I'm just clinging to material shit. And maybe I do have to part with some objects. But I was just thinking of, you just get all this stuff, build it in front of a camera, sell it to someone, maybe you make like $50 on the deal, but who cares, whatever. It was a fun thing. I got to hold the parts in my hands for a little bit, and then I got to pass them on to somebody who'd appreciate them. And then I started to notice that, like, all these signature parts, because they were the good ones, or the special edition parts that you'd buy to do really, really cool builds, they get chewed up by riding in like, a couple of months. And it's like, right, need new wheels. And then you go and get new wheels. And so I was just like, well, maybe we have to hold on. Maybe we have to hold on to some of these things for a little bit longer. And so I just started putting them away. And I sort of became clingy about it. Is this how people start becoming like collectors of stuff, is it? I guess it must be, because it was never an intention. I just wanted to build shit, film it, put it on the internet and sell it. And by the look of it, there's people who like want this stuff And maybe I should either do that and sell them as custom builds. Would people be interested in that maybe? Or I could sell the parts individually. I'm looking for a bit of feedback here, because essentially, as you're sort of aware, like, you as a community have contacted me to start doing something more active with the collection of scooter shit that I'm holding on to. And so I'm just trying to get in touch and find a way to connect with you and see what you want me to do with it. Because I kind of like the idea of doing sort of very unique, artistic, custom builds. And then, I don't know, I guess I've got to let go of the idea that there's these cool parts that I can hang on to and put on my shelf and shit, and let them go out into the world. And if people do ride them, I guess that's their right. But then I don't know. If I sold this to you, would you ride it? There's a poll and a half, all right? You all know what that is. So, if I sold it to you, would you ride it? And maybe I've got to not mind, because I can't ride it. I also don't know what you'd pay for it. Go on. Bidding starts here. What would someone pay for one Matt McKean clamp? Let's see if you can break my scooter part hoarding habit with a cash offer. I don't know, putting it out there. Or should I save it for a custom build? So yeah, I guess like the other thing I can do is do like informational stuff. I haven't really kept up with scootering for like 2 years, but to be honest, it all looks the same. So what have I missed? And people go, there's 7 wides. I'm like, yeah, I know. They had that before. Oh, Will Judy and Will Cashin are on tilt. I'm like, how interesting. I mean, are you guys actually excited about the what do you call them? Signature tilt parts? To me, they're like, a little on the dull side compared to what's been before. Like, I mean, are you really going at it? Like, these are sitting. Why are these sitting? They made 500. Isaac Miller. He's the only person still like, he's the most old school person going, isn't he? Who else is still going? Who'd be more old school than him who might be still going? Sorry, I haven't looked at any of this for 2 years. It's JD. Is he still going? Because man, he's the most gangster motherfucker. I have to look into it again. But, sorry to get sidetracked. The big bit for me is, like, Native did something, and I don't know, like, the impression I get is that they alienated the American chapter that they were trying to form with the video that's titled Apple Orchard, that I swear was called something else before. But they seem to have alienated the American team. I'm not sure why or how or who did what, and I'd love to be filled in on that. So I'm not trying to start a controversial issue here. But it seems interesting, like, for my mind, like, just thinking of it as a business move. I mean, imagine having signature Parish Isaac Native parts, or Devon Sislowski Native parts with signature model stuff, and just making them look really cool like Native does. Like, wouldn't you do that? I don't know. Again, I just don't know what happened, and I don't know how to find out about what happened. So, just catch me up on that. What else is out? North's got a 7 wide. Tilt's got a 7 wide. Who else has a 7 wide? AO's got the, what's his name? Brian Noyes, 7 wide. So 7 wide's normal now. Man, I'm scratching. I got the 6.25 native for my birthday 2 years ago. I've ridden the thing like 6 times or something. It's really nice. Don't get me wrong. But I'm already scraping the sides of it on that. How are you cunts riding 7 wides now? Not that I have a problem with the width thing, because the width thing isn't like, an indicator of too much or too little. It's an indicator of that people are continuing to ride scooters as they get older and your feet get bigger. That's why you want a wider thing. It's like, I've got a fucking size 14 Nike on. I can fit on a 5 wide, like, okay. I'm fine on a fucking 5 wide. At the same time, 6 is good. And 6.25 for me, as probably like one of the biggest people who'd ride, I must reckon, like, I don't know how you can't riding 7. I've got to try it though. Like, someone's got to give me a 7. I can't seem to find one available on the market at the moment. So, looking into that, yeah. Well, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if someone is willing to send me a 7, I might send you a gift. I don't know what. Find something. Yeah. Anyway. What else is going on? So there's a bunch of people collecting scooter parts. What are you collecting them for? Just memorabilia, right? Just to think about the times? Must be. I haven't watched any videos either. What are the good videos coming out? Tell me what the good videos are as well. Put that in the comments. Good videos to check out that have been made in the last, say, like 12 months. What's the best stuff that's come out in the last 12 months? Now, if any of you people who are watching this and like really like the OG stuff, I saw like people passing around this like, spread around thing about Scooter Brad. Be nice to Scooter Brad, please. Who else is talking about that shit? Leave him the fuck alone. You watch it. That's why you know who he is. So be nice to him, because like, all this crap about, he shouldn't be allowed to work in the industry. No, like, you shouldn't be allowed to work in the industry. Go away. Be nice to him. All right, I don't know how much more I've got to say. I'll try and chop this together and hopefully that'll make a video. I know I've got plenty of footage, but most of it I probably don't want to show you. So I hope you're all doing well. I'm sort of doing fine, and I'm happy to engage with the community, and really keen for you to fill me in on what I missed in the last little while.